Welcome everybody to Train Tuesday. I'm your host Jim Wiggin, and man, does it seem like it's the end of May already? I don't know where the time has gone, but as soon as that warm weather comes, it makes things go quick. Hey, let's see who's out there this afternoon. We've got Sean, Gary, Brian, Robert, Chad, Tom, and let's see, Jonathan, Joseph. Mr. Kevin is in the house. All right. Well, let's a few of you folks get in there. Harold, good afternoon to you as well. David, Terry. All right, Austin, Steve, Frederick. Frederick's calling in from Elkhart, Illinois. Ted, Matt, Mr. Derek Glass. And let's see, Keenan, Christopher, Wesley. Got some great guys showing up here today. I want to thank you all for coming in and spending some time with me. It's Tuesday, so we're going to talk trains. And Brian from Chicago says, awesome, let's do that. Let's do some talking about some trains. Summer's around the corner. In fact, Monday's Memorial Day, which, wow, it doesn't seem like that's possible, but it is. A lot of you guys that are watching from the States, you're probably going to have Monday off. Remember Memorial Day for what it is. It's not all about mattress sales, but enjoy your time off and maybe get some modeling done. And that's what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of everything, a little bit of HO, a little bit of N. And we're going to be talking about containers. We're going to be talking about containers, how they move, and what we've got coming out that's available for pre-order up until Friday of this week. So what I'm going to show you today, you've only got a limited amount of time to talk to your dealer and pre-order this stuff. Now, what are these things here to my left, your right? Well, we'll talk about those later. I'm pretty excited about these too, and we'll definitely talk about that. Plus some other neat stuff about the GP18. So one more roundup. Let's see who else we've got that's joined us. Let's see. We've got Richard and Brad. And Jacob. And Jacob says he's excited about the Surfliner. Who isn't? The Surfliner is going to be sweet. And I think you're going to be seeing more of those coming up real soon. Yes, Joseph is excited about stack containers. And John is clapping. He's happy. And let's see. Richard, yeah, what's this I hear about an ST9 question mark? We need a 0 after that 9. Rick, nice to see you from Texas. Brendan, good to hear everybody here today. So, all right, well, without further ado, let's talk about some HO scale and N scale containers. Now, for you guys that are doing modern stuff out there, containers are just par for the course. Containers are at a modern day model railroad is what 40-foot boxcars were in the 50s and 60s modelers. So let's see what I have to share with you today. And this is kind of neat. Got some cool stuff to show you modern guys. All right. And again, I'm going to zoom in on this so that you guys can see this a little bit better. There we go. Kind of zoom in on there for you. So 53-foot containers. Not just any kind of container. These are the CIMC containers. Now you may be asking yourself, CIMC. Okay. What does that mean? Well, it's the manufacturer of said containers. It is and let me get this correct. The CIMC stands for the China International Marine Containers. Now, there's some interesting stuff about CIMC. They weren't always called that. They were actually, their full name was the China International Marine Containers. They were incorporated in Shenzhen as a joint venture in January 14th of 1980. So all the way back in 1980, these guys were making containers. This is about the same time that we saw modern freight really changed both on the road and on the rails. We saw a lot. The 70s was really the last time we really saw the big push of the manufacturing of boxcars, and we're slowly starting to see containers take a relevant course throughout the landscape. They adopted just the simple name of CIMC in 1995. Another interesting fact, too, is Vanguard National Trailer Corp. This is CIMC's U.S. subsidiary. They acquired the Monon, not the Monon Railroad, Monon manufacturer, in 2003. So let's take a look at these containers that we're offering on this release. So these are all modern. These are all contemporary. You're going to see these here and now. Ultra modern, 53-footer. You can see how that the container body, the way they've got the bracing and the way they've got the corner connectors, that's so that they can be stacked on your standard size containers. But these 53-footers have gotten extremely popular since regulations and road length and size on semi-trucks changed in 1991. And this was a direct answer to that, because a lot of these, of course, are going to go from ship to train to truck. Coming up, I'm sure many of us have seen JB Hunt. JB Hunt has a huge intermodal presence, and here we're offering them in 2 3-packs. And everything that I'm going to be showing you today, these are all available in HO and N scale. So N scale intermodal guys, don't feel left out. These are exactly the same in both HO and N scale. But like I said, they're going to come in 2 packs, and each pack comes with 3. So it's going to be real easy to build up your intermodal fleet with this release. Coming up next is the hub group. It's another one that's fairly common. You see this quite a bit throughout the United States. Two different sets, 3 each included. Here we are. We have CSX. The CSX intermodal. Again, real common. You're going to see these everywhere, whether it be on your intermodal freight or a truck. And we'll talk about chassis for these here in a minute. And a lot of guys too that have the smaller switching layouts, they'll use these as a backdrop. If you're modeling a small industrial area that's right outside of a port that would have an intermodal terminal, it's a great use of making your background seem bigger than what it really is. Combining this and some images, you really do a great job convincing everybody your layout is actually deeper than what it is. XPO Logistics, also going to be offering them as well. And Railpool. So these are the ones that we've picked. Now we get a lot of feedback. We get a lot of questions like, hey, why didn't you do a Walmart one? Why didn't you do a Sam's Club one? And of course, we hear a lot of folks ask, why didn't you do an Amazon one? Well, those are all fair points. They're all fair questions. There's a couple of things that come into play on that factor in on that. The biggest thing is license. For everything that you see here, usually there's a license required. And so Athearn has to pay that license in order to do those road names. Now, we also try to pick the road names that are the most popular with you modelers. Southern New Mexico Rail and Refuse Entertainment. He's got in caps XPO Logistics. He likes that. So that's a good example. That was one of the lines that was requested. You hear me weekly say, hey, go to the contact us page and select product suggestions and put in your road names there. That's where this comes from. We're starting to see some really good feedback from you guys as to what roads you want to have run on future releases, and we're putting that into account. So real quickly, before we go on to some more interesting stuff, like always, these are fully assembled. You don't have to do anything to them. These do have the newest horizontal rib fronts. If you look carefully, I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. And I realize this is just artwork, but when these start coming in, you can be sure that I'll be showing these to you on Train Tuesdays in the future. You see how the rib pattern is slightly different from past models. And of course, all the other things that you've come to recognize with Athearn intermodal products. The door rods, they're all separately applied. We could have cheated and molded those in. We felt it was just that much more dynamic to have those separately applied. It just gives a realism factor that much better look, whether it be on your freight train, your intermodal tractor, or like we were talking about earlier, as a backdrop for your layout. So yes, SB Scotty, thanks for that. I'm going to put his comment up there because it's something I want to thank. That art really looks great. We really do appreciate that because, there's a lot of people that help make Athearn what it is. And we've got an awesome art department. We've got an awesome development team. And without them, you guys wouldn't have these great products. So yeah, it's not just artwork. So thanks for correcting me, Scotty. Our artists spend many, many, many hours researching and doing this artwork for you guys to see. And then, in a year from now, you'll see the results of all that hard work. So yes, we want to thank all the artists over at Athearn for doing such a great job on these releases. Now, remember, you have until Friday, until the end of the day with your dealer, to order these if you're interested. And these are both available in N scale and HO. That is one of the things that we've seen growth in. We've seen some growth in N scale, and we thank you, N scale guys, for purchasing our products. And we've also seen an increase in intermodal. So we're trying to do more in those categories for you guys that are buying that. If you have further questions on the containers or comments, feel free to put them in the comments section here on my side. I try to catch as many as I can, and I'm reading through them right now. Frederick, not right away. I'd have to look and see when we release those. Not right away. We're going to talk about the chassis next because it's one of those things where it doesn't seem important until you actually need one, and it's kind of a wheelbarrow for these containers. So let's go ahead to the next one. Now these right now are just available in HO. So N scale guys, don't give up. It's possible that in the future we may do these in N scale as well, but for right now we're just going to concentrate on the HO ones. So let me bring that up. And we'll zoom in on these, and I'm pretty excited about a lot of these. So here we go, 53-foot chassis. And we're offering them in requested road names, requested eras as well. And again, these, if you're doing any type of intermodal operations in HO, you're going to want to pick up a couple of packs of these. Even if you're not doing a terminal or a port or anything of that nature, you're still going to want these for your layout, whether they be connected to a semi-tractor and the container stacked on top, or, even like they do in real life. If maybe, earlier we were talking about using the containers as kind of a backdrop for a smaller than, for a scene that looks bigger than what it really is. Well, these can be used for that too. In real life, these are just stacked. They're just stacked. They have a special tractor that literally picks these up like a rack, and then they just stack them end over end and stack them like ladders in a yard. So if you wanted to do that for your small section of a terminal, you could. You can also use them with the tractor trailers or semi-tractors that we release. Or you can just put one of the containers on there and park it up to one of your industrial parks. Either way, these work out really, really good for your layout. It doesn't matter how big your layout is. So coming on up here, we've got the Pacer stack train, real common. BNSF, but not current BNSF. This is the Circle Cross. This is the logo they used just after the inception of BNSF, all the way up to 2005. You'll still see these occasionally. Of course, CSX. CSX has a really good following, so we went ahead and did some CSX. Sea Castle. And of course, JV Hunt. And their familiar orange and Canadian National. So these are sold 2 per package. Real easy to put these together and add these to your layout, your modular scene, whatever it is you're working on. Real easy to build a small fleet of these quickly. And again, these are somewhat contemporary. You would see a lot of these probably from anywhere between the mid-90s all the way until current day. And yeah, this is one of those things where if you do any kind of intermodal, it's a small part of the equation, but it's a very important part of the equation as well. So let's see. I'm kind of looking out there to see if anybody has got any questions on these. Let's see. All right. All right. So a lot of you guys are excited about these. These are great. That's going to be a great release. Now you have, like I said, you have until Friday. Friday is the 28th, if I remember right. So you only have a few more days, believe it or not, before you, well, let's put it to you this way. When you punch out of work, or if you're one of those guys that's retired, you know, before the end of the day, when you want to go pick up the potato salad for the picnic or cookout that you want to have for the Memorial Day weekend, stop by your hobby shop and, you know, pre-order one of these items. Now, if you're not into the intermodal like we talked about here today, don't worry. We've got other things. Last week we talked about the FEF steam locomotive. Really popular locomotive. And don't forget, that has been updated. Not only does it have Tsunami 2 and LED lights and an LED firebox with a flicker function, all new motor and drivetrain. So it's going to be a much better running locomotive. It's going to sound incredible. So if steam is your thing, don't forget the FEF. And also we talked about those 40-foot boxcars last week. A lot of those 40-foot boxcars are perfect for you guys that are in the steam era, all the way into early transition era, all the way into the 60s. Most of those are going to be from the 50s and 60s, with one car being in the 70s. So this month we've got a little bit of everything for everybody. Guys that are kind of in the middle, I know you guys from the 90s sometimes feel left out. Don't forget, we got the SD60s. That's a must-have if you're into 90s model railroading. So don't forget about those. And of course, you can always go to athearn.com and go to the main page and go to new announcements and see all the things that we announce from month to month. And if you have any questions, your dealer would be more than happy to help you out with those. And likewise, if you got any questions, feel free to throw them up here. I am kind of watching, see if you guys have any questions on anything. But let's see. Yeah, I'm seeing some questions out there and some back and forth about licensing. And yeah, licensing is something that affects all model industries, whether it be model trains, model cars, model planes, you name it. The way things are nowadays, there are licensing agreements that have to be made. And so sometimes we try our best to work with different companies to produce miniature models of what they have, using their likeness and using their logo and things of that nature. And we can't always do that. There's various reasons why. This show isn't a good place to say what all those various things are, but keep in mind there's a lot more than just picking out your favorite piece of rolling stock and slapping a name on it. It has to go through a lot of different specs and checks and balances before it goes out. So the next time you pick up your CSX locomotive, realized that, yeah, those guys in development spent a lot of time researching that locomotive. The artist spent a lot of time making sure that the artist is correct, not only for your satisfaction, but for the satisfaction of the company that we're representing in that release. All right. So, a couple of things I wanted to show you today. Give me a shout out there if you got your GP18s. If you ordered a GP18 and you got it, give me a shout out over here in the side comments. I want to see. I'm really excited about these because it's pretty much my era that I modeled personally. And I know a lot of guys like early Burlington Northern or 1970s stuff. So let me see who's got some GP18s out there. I'm looking. I know you guys probably bought some because guess what? We've already run out of a lot of the road names and a lot of the different versions as they came in. So let's see. I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything. Well, while you guys think about it. Oh, Kyle. Okay, you got the BN version for fun. Okay, cool. Very cool. Now, the cool thing about the BN version that I ordered, this is one that I ordered myself personally for my layout that hopefully at some point I'll get to show you guys. But this is one that I picked out personally for my layout, and it's not just a typical Cascade Green Burlington Northern GP18. What development did was they did early Burlington Northern. And when I say early Burlington Northern, we're talking early 1970s. And if you look carefully, you'll see that this is a Northern Pacific version. And in fact, we even did a Burlington Northern still painted in Northern Pacific, but lettered and numbered for Burlington Northern to further replicate the early era of Burlington Northern. Those have completely sold out from Athearn. If you're interested in those, contact your dealer. He may have one of those in stock for you. The one that I have here, 1992, is a very early repaint of a former Northern Pacific locomotive, and is the Cascade Green. And if you look at the details carefully, this is early 1970s. If you look carefully, the cut lever is the earlier style cut lever. The bell is still the brass steam locomotive style that Northern Pacific used at that time. Just little details like that. It's essentially a Northern Pacific locomotive in Cascade Green with Burlington Northern numbers, as it would have been since that's where it was inherited from. Now, we also did a more modern version. I believe the number was 1996, and that depicted a Burlington Northern locomotive that was still of NP heritage, but was representative of locomotive later 70s, early 80s. Its biggest spotting difference was the rotating beacon on the cab, which BN used at that point. So those are the little details that our development team has to constantly look at. And speaking about all these little details and all these different different things to pick up on, I wanted to share with you a review that just came in. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You probably remember James from Hybrid Hobby. He's been on here a few times, and he'll occasionally do a review for us. And this week, he just uploaded a review of the GP18. And I'm going to go ahead and play that. And I'll make that bigger so you guys can see it. And see, he's got, I think, the same, yeah, he's got the same locomotive that I have. Get that up there. There we go. And you can see the really nice detail that he's showing here in this video. A lot of the things that we talked about, the early cut levers, you know, the 1996 model has a slightly different cut lever style because they had changed, FRA standards had changed by then. But James does a really good job of this review. It's about an 8-minute review, and just for you guys as a heads up, it will be playing after the Train Tuesday. It's about 6 o'clock Central. Yep, Terry, I've got it muted just so that you know about the video. You can see the video in its entirety either by going to Hybrid Hobby at youtube.com, or you can wait and see it on our Facebook. We'll make an announcement that it's live. You can go ahead and select the video link in the Facebook post. It's going to go out at 6 o'clock tonight. That's Central Time. So really cool. And of course, typical of James, he does a great job of showing not only the actual model, but he's got some great pictures of the actual units, which always comes in handy. Really, really excited about the GP18. And this is the first time we've offered it. So if you didn't see your road that you wanted, don't worry. We're gonna do the GP18s again. Just remember what I always tell you every week. Go to that Contact Us page, go to the product suggestion email, and let us know. That's the only way we know what to make for you guys. Michael, any GP9s? We announced some GP9s back in December. And I think we're going to be having some coming out that were announced last summer. We should be seeing those here pretty soon too. So stay tuned for details on that. But yeah, really cool locomotive. We've been really excited about it. And I've run mine a little bit. I've been really happy with the performance of it. The sound, of course, with the Tsunami 2, it's a great, great sound. You can definitely do some fine tuning as far as the sound volume, which I tend to do since I have a small room and for my little layout. Michael Long says chop nose. Well, don't worry. We're watching. I stated and John, our development, he and a lot of us watch Facebook. Now, we can't be on Facebook all the time, but we do try to watch stuff, and we are listening. We're not just some, somebody that hides behind a big banner. We're actually modelers ourselves. So don't worry. I'm not on Facebook as much as some of the other guys are, but we are watching, and it's a team of us. And so, comment. The only thing we ask is, when with the comments going, and I know sometimes we get passionate about our hobbies and stuff, but just try to keep it adult. Just try to keep it civil. There's too much of that in the world right now. Let's just escape into our modeling world and enjoy each other's company about what we have a passion about, and go from there. So again, this video is going to be shared through our Facebook platform tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Daylight Time. So I'm excited about that. You're probably also wondering what this is. It's a neat little caboose. I was going to get a really nice picture of it, but these came and went so quick that I couldn't get a picture of it in time. But this is by Roundhouse. We did these cupola cabooses, and we did you've probably seen the 75th anniversary caboose, but we also did one for our parent company, is Horizon Hobbies. Horizon Hobbies purchased Athearn in 2004, and thanks to Horizon Hobbies input and help, we've been able to develop a lot of the cool products that you guys enjoy. And so we did a 35th anniversary Horizon Hobby cupola caboose, and I had to get one because I've actually got an older release of a Horizon Hobby 50-foot boxcar. So that is something to look for. Now, if you're interested in this, if it looks kind of cool, if you're kind of into the collector style pieces, the part number on this is RND for Roundhouse, and it's real easy to remember, 3535. Horizon Hobby has been in the business for 35 years. They've been a manufacturer and producer and exporter and distributor of all things hobby for 35 years. Seems hard to believe it's been 35 years, but that is the case. So if you want to have something a little bit different on your train, these cupola cabooses, I believe we still have a few in our DC, but contact your dealer and he can still get you one. All right. So at this point, I don't really have a lot of other news to talk to you about. So if you've got some questions, we're going to go ahead and do some virtual rail fanning. Now, I know this comes up every week. The Train Tuesday curse. I'm going to check before I switch cameras here. All right. I was going to go to Kansas City because when I set up the live, it was like 2 or 3 trains going on. And right now the camera is panning into nothingness. So I'm going to see if I can find something while we're talking, see if there's something exciting going on anywhere. And I'm also going to try to keep my eyes on the comments, because if you guys see something, shout it out to me and I'll try that link as well. We're using a virtual railfan. Now, we want to thank Virtual Railfan for their network of cameras that go throughout the country where there's all kinds of rail activity. And for us that are stuck inside, or just kind of curious on what's going on in another part of the world, this is a great way to find out. So let's see. We've been to Washington. I'm searching, guys. Not much is going on right now. Even my beloved Galesburg is quiet. And usually when I do these shows, I have this all picked out, and sometimes, I mean, lately we've kind of had a bad habit of not having any trains, and I'd apologize for that, but unfortunately, that's not really in my control. And if you diehard rail fans out there, I'm sure many of you guys actually rail fan on Fridays. That's usually one of the busiest days to go rail fanning. All right, I'm going to land on a spot and we can do some questions and answers. And if nothing happens, we'll go ahead and start taking requests, because sometimes you guys are really good about finding something that's going on. So yeah, Harold, I'm starting to think so too. Let's go ahead and share screen here. Go to Missouri, the show me state, which means show me trains, right? We're going to go to the show me state and hopefully they show me some trains. Let's go ahead and maximize. And again, if one of you guys is on a a rail cam that looks like it's busy and it's part of the virtual railfan network, drop it in the comments. We'll go over there. For now, we'll do exactly what we do in real life when we railfan. We'll talk. We'll see what is on your mind, what kind of questions you have, and it could be anything. It could be about the current releases that you have until Friday to pick up at your hobby shop or to pre-order, or it can be about stuff that's just coming in now. Comments and questions are appreciated. So let me see what we got in there. Jake. He says, Jim, any chances that, and as a New Englander, I have such a hard time saying y'all. It just doesn't sound right to me. Could you do some 50-foot waffle side boxcars and the Genesis line, like Norfolk Southern, and CSX ones we still see rolling around? Jake, that's a good question. And I'd have to bug the developers for that and see, depending on what kind of research they have and what kind of access we have to molds and things of that nature, would kind of dictate what we could do. But by all means, it's a good suggestion. Those are good roads. They're very popular roads. So it would be a great one to use the products suggestion email at outhern.com. What else do we have? Todd, I'm going to put you up there because it looked like you tried to get this in and your phone died. I know that feeling. Jim, my phone died before I could comment on the containers. Would there be any interest in 40-foot international shipping containers from the 70s and 80s, such as Sealand, Cass, Morflot, Canada, Maritime, and the like. I haven't seen anyone doing these lately, and the last time I saw a Morflot was in a blue box set of international containers decades ago. Yeah, that was decades ago. Well, it's a good question, and right now, I don't see a lot of early intermodal stuff being modeled. Now, that could be because it's just not available. If we get enough comments and questions to explore that possibility, that's always something that we could look into. But right now, we don't have any plans for anything like that. We've got, we talked about 3 really big releases that are coming up this year. And nothing on the early front, but give it time and it could happen. Okay. Harold, yeah, let's talk about that. So Harold's like, hey, can you talk about the P40/P42s coming out? I wasn't expecting them until June. Well, you know what? That is one of the things that can happen in our situation now. We announced those last May or June, and I'm going by memory on this. And it typically takes a year. And remember, too, the same thing happened with the GP18s. We were hoping to get those by early June and the P40, P42s about mid-June. And they got here early. There's a lot of factors that come into play. Timing is always everything, and we try to, if you go to our website, we try to keep track of those, all those different SKUs and give you the correct dates. And it's all based on a lot of things. When they leave our factory to the time they're being transported on a vessel, to the time they get to the port and loaded onto a intermodal train. And yes, a lot of these come by train, which is kind of cool. And then from the point till they get to the port north of us and the time it takes for them to get from that port to the truck. There's so many different, that's the simplified answer. There's so many steps in between. And every once in a while, something will come out early. And if you're impatient like me, that's a good thing. If you're trying to hide it from a significant other, it might put a monkey wrench in your plans. But that's, we were happy to see those get here a little bit earlier because it was a highly anticipated release. Jacob, I'm going to grab you because it's a question on the Surfliners. He says, do you know when we can pre-order the new Surfliner cars? I'm really wanting to order some of these new cars to go with my HO scale F59 PHI locomotives. Yeah, good choice. Well, it's going to be sooner than you think. Always stay tuned with us because, like I said, our big releases, we have the SD90 that's coming out, and I think you guys are going to see that real soon. And for you folks in Indiana, stay tuned. We're doing something we haven't done with the 90 before. And then the Surfliners are next. That is, it's not just development stage. It's happening. So we'll be talking about those more and more as time goes on. And for you guys that are interested in the Surfliners, and of course the AC 4400s, watch our Facebook, watch our Instagram, and of course watch Train Tuesday. Because we're going to be giving you details as they become available. We want to let you guys know what's going on in development. We want to see, kind of gauge your excitement to see if we're really going in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, this is a hobby that we all enjoy, and we want to make sure that we're hitting all the releases that you guys want. Donald says, do you have a price for the Surfliners? No canned answers, please. I don't have a can. So I don't know if this is going to come across as canned, but at this time, no, I do not. But you can be sure that we will be, when we do announce those for pre-order, there will be prices. I know you guys get sick of me saying it, but I'll say the same thing. The prices that we show on our pre-orders are not necessarily the prices that you would get from your dealer. It's no different than a retail value versus what you actually buy the product from your local retailer. So that being said, hopefully that didn't come across as canned. That is totally honest. When more information develops, we will definitely provide that for you. Yes, Keenan, I'll put that up there. It's about time. I know there was a lot of people looking forward to these. The Surfliners was probably one of the most requested items that we've had in a long time. So we would have been crazy not to do these. Frederick, when are the Dash 9s coming out this year? So remember that little talk we had about the, coming from the factory, being in a vessel, going to the train? Yeah. So far, our predictions is those are going to be out late summer. So we're talking August, September area. Now that is subject to change, just like the Amtrak units were. That is always subject to change. But for right now, plan on a late summer. And Frederick, if you pre-ordered one of those, you're not going to be disappointed. I was really excited to see these Dash 9s. So, and by the way, Donald, you're more than welcome. Let's see. Chris, Horizon doesn't ship to Canada anymore. I've not heard that. We have some great retailers in Canada, so double check that. We've got some great dealers up in Canada that I've been on some of their live streams, and definitely check that out again. If that seems to be more of a problem, then contact us and we'll see if we can help you out, because Canada is one of our big players. Scott, that's a great question. How about some CB&Q Budliner bi-levels? I think Scott wants to run some dinkies. As a fellow CB&Q fan, I think if you're a Q fan, you know what a dinky is. But it's a possibility. Of course, I'd be all for it. It would be a cool release, but definitely a possibility. I mean, with these Surfliners coming out, that really opens up a lot. And remember, these have never been offered before in plastic. This is all new. A lot of many hours of work have gone into these. Let's see. And Frederick, okay, so Frederick, he ordered a UP. The UP ones are really nice. He's talking about the Dash 9s. A train. That kind of made me slightly uncomfortable at first, but then I realized it's just a camera. And it looks like we got some auto racks. Let's see, what else? While you guys look at that, I'm going to look at Metra bi-levels. That would be cool. I would be all about that. That would be cool. Metra's kind of particular about licensing. So, mechanically wise, it's probably possible. It would depend on a licensing thing. And if you've ever tried to custom paint Metra stuff in the past, you know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't mean no. It just means it might be a little bit harder than some. Let's see, what else do we have? So I am seeing some comments about warp trucks. So what that is in reference to is recently the ST60Ms that we released this past March. We released a statement last week on Facebook and Untrained Tuesday. Our developers are aware of that situation where the truck does not fully seat correctly on the rail and is subject to a derailment, and is also in conjunction with the roller bearing caps popping off. So we are working on a fix, and it's one of those things where we don't want to, we're really researching this because we don't want to give you a fix that only fix it temporarily. We want to give you a fix that's permanent. Let's be honest, this is an Athearn locomotive, and we know you guys have spent your hard-earned money on these locomotives, and so we want to give you a fix that's permanent so you can actually use these the way they were intended to be used. So as far as the SD60Ms, please realize that we've got developers working on a fix right now. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that in the future, and everybody that has purchased one of these SD60Ms with this issue, you will be updated as to how to fix those. And it's going to be real, I've been told it's going to be real easy to fix. Now, with the Dash 9s, they're a completely different truck, so they're not going to have that issue. Oh, let's see. What happened to Athearn autos for their racks? Now, you mean automobiles themselves? We've done some. We've done some, mainly trucks, everything from semi-trucks to pickup trucks and maintenance trucks and older vans and things of that nature. We haven't really done automobiles, if that's what you're asking. Mainly a couple of reasons. The short answer is there are some really good companies out there that produce some HO scale and even N scale vehicles that are worthy of auto racks. And then the other thing too is while we do sell some of those vehicles, they're not a big percentage of our sales. So we just release those just to kind of supplement the market. There's a lot of other competition out there for doing, say, Chevrolet Impalas or Ford 500s or whatever your era is. So that's why we really haven't invested too much into that. Kevin, that's a good question. I'm going to throw it up here for everybody to see. How's the Athearn parts department coming, Jim? Well, it's a slow process. And again, we want to make things accurate. We want to make things accurate and easy for you. So think about it. We're 75 years old this year. We took all of those parts from Long Beach, California, and we brought them to Champaign, Illinois, basically the heart of America, if you will. I mean, we're right in the center of the United States, which in the long term will make things easier for you and everybody else that needs to get parts. We're not only doing that, but we're doing a lot of work. We're really looking at the way parts customers are serviced, their experience, how things are run. And we know that in a situation where you need parts, we want to make it so that it's easy and it's quick. And that's what we're working on. So as we're talking right now, there's a system that's now in place. They're working on that system, getting everything all in, up to spec. And that way, when you request a certain part, you get that actual part. We don't want there to be any frustrations on your end. And another thing too is our customer service line, extremely busy answering your questions and calls. And I can't say enough about how happy we are with our customer service reps. It's a hard job. It's not the easiest job in the world. And sometimes I know it can get frustrating when you're trying to get a question answered or a part. We're just asking for a little bit more patience as we finally work out all those finer details and make this a better experience for everybody. But thanks for that question and a good reminder. Let's see. Here's a question I see almost every week, and I could avoid it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take Amy's question right here. She's like, Jim, why won't you bring back the kits for the model railroaders who like to build kits? So there's a couple of different reasons. And these are all honest answers. For years, we made the blue box kits. I had them. Everybody in development had them. Everybody on the team at Athearn had those. They were everywhere. Blue box kits were everywhere. That was a different era, though. For one thing, if you really do like to build kits, there are some great quality kit manufacturers still out there. Another thing was cost. It seems hard to believe because You know, many of us remember going to the hobby shop and getting a blue box kit and maybe paying $5 or less and thinking, well, they can't be that much more to produce, but they actually are. When we started, um, you know, changing our habits as far as manufacturing, we found that the cost of a already built versus a kit was completely different. And you can see this in other segments of the market too. Another one that's close to Horizon's heart is RC airplanes. In the past, folks built kits. You literally got a box of lumber and you put it together and you covered it and you flew it. Those are not as common anymore because almost ready to fly and ready to fly airplanes are actually cheaper to produce than a kit. And I know that sounds absurd, but it is the truth. We have cost analysis folks at Horizon that check the numbers and they check them twice, and that's the truth. Now, for those folks out there that like the Roundhouse and some of the ready to roll products, that doesn't mean you can't add to them or take away from them or strip them down and repaint them. Modelers are modelers. They're going to do what they do. Now, another reason why we kind of moved away from the blue box kits is we found that with the internet and forums and Facebook groups and things of that nature, our core customers demand more detailed, more authentic models. And that couldn't be done as easily with the mass-produced kits. And if you are somebody that's probably my age or older, you remember the days of getting a blue box, say a GP38-2, and then spending a lot of time and effort getting the detail parts put on and such. Nowadays, most of our customers would rather buy a Genesis locomotive like I have here that's already ready to go. And let's face it, we realize that there are kit builders out there, but for the mass market of Athearn customers, we find that most people like to have theirs already ready to go, maybe just with the exception of a little bit of weathering and work on their layout. So, but a good question. I wanted to address it because it's a fair question. Let's see. Got some questions here. I want to pick some folks too that have not had their questions posted. Chris, ever thought about doing cab lighting? Or would that be too probably cost effective is what you're getting at? You know, we live in a great time in model railroading. Just about anything's possible. Look at Genesis 2.0. In the past, we were happy with LEDs. And now with Genesis 2.0, we have ground lights, we've got number boards, we've got headlights, we've got ditch lights, we've got different functions of lighting. So interior lighting, that is definitely within the realms of possibility. It's you never know what our developers are going to do, and that's the great thing about Athearn. When you see Janik, when you see John, when you see Jack, those guys are modelers. When they're not at work, they're at home with their own projects. They're running on club layouts. They're all active club members. So they're not just wearing a suit and making new products. They actually they walk the walk. So anything's possible. Let's see. Update for the VIA guys. I don't have an update for you. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Remember we were talking about licensing earlier? There you have it. Some things require licensing, and some things take longer to finalize than others. So that's all I've got for you. You need to be the CEO for Athearn. No, I don't want that job. It's very kind of you, Red, but no, I don't want that job. And the thing of it is there's so many on the team that that do all the hard, heavy lifting. I have the fun job. I get to interact with you guys. I get to do the marketing for Athearn. But the developers, the artists, and the bean counters, if you will, all of those guys do the heavy lifting. And So yeah, I wouldn't want their job as much. Not so much, but I appreciate that sentimental. Oh, let's see. David. Is Athearn going to do all locos with no wires like the 2.0? I think eventually, yes, we're going to do that. That's something that we've seen in the automotive industry for many, many years. Of course, we've seen that in electronics. And it's something that I'm sure we're going to see with Athearn in the future. So it's just a matter of time. And, so along those lines too, I've had people ask, are you going to do all of the Genesis locomotives in 2.0? I think eventually we probably will. But that's going to be a process. Let's see. Kurt, it's a good question. Athearn is the only company with an SD40. When will more be released? Well, Kurt, it's a great question. And I wonder if you've had a chance to go to our website and go to the Contact Us and ask that question. If we get enough responses asking for the SD40, then quite possibly we'll see more of them. The other thing that we talk about occasionally too is, remember, I jokingly say that I'm knocking on Janek's door or John's door or even Jack's door all the time. Hey, we want this, we want that. They have got so many projects back there. The Lockheed Skunk Works would be jealous. There's so much going on back there. And they have to get through all that stuff too. So it's real easy to come up with, for me anyways, it's real easy to come up with ideas of what I'd like to see next. But these guys have to do the heavy lifting and actually do all the research and the designing of it. Here's a cool question / comment. A Mopac GP18 chop nose with Alco trucks and Jenks Blue. That is really cool. Yeah, you definitely need to go to our product suggestion email and put that in there. And I don't think you're the only person with that. I've seen that comment before. So that would be a really cool release. I would probably get that just because of the subject matter. Let's see. Christopher. Oops. Straight 30s and straight 40s. Well, let's talk about the 40 first. Possibility in the future, yes. We'll probably do something with the 40s. 30s, time will tell. I could not honestly tell you on that one. It's one of the things where we have to look at what else is out there, because we don't want to make a locomotive that is made by 2 or 3 other different manufacturers. I realize right now the Jeep 30 is not something that's been produced in a while. I think that was produced, I can think of one brand about 20 years ago that did them in HO. But at the same time, we don't want to make a locomotive that other manufacturers have produced. It wouldn't be cost effective for us. But the 40, yeah, that's something that we'll probably be looking into. Let's see, I'm going through. Chris, I see your comment on paint. And we talked earlier about our customer service reps. I don't hear a lot of complaints about paint. Once in a while, we'll have folks say that the shade or the hue is not correct. And we have to confer with our developers to see what their research concluded. But if you have a locomotive where the paint doesn't look correct or something doesn't look just right, please let us know, because that's a warranty situation. If you've purchased a new locomotive and there's something wrong with the paint, you need to contact us for a warranty situation. We try our best, and especially with the Genesis line, to make sure that the product, once it's left the factory, is up to your standards. And if it's not, please let us know. Let's see. I've got time for a few more questions. I thought I saw some. I'm going to scroll up here. Let's see. So I'm just going to paraphrase the question. There's a question out there about complaints on a certain release. There's a couple of things, and a lot of people were saying with the SD60M specifically, we were a little bit late to announcing that we knew there was a problem. Like anything in the world, you want to get all your facts together, and that's what we had to do. We confer with our customer service reps. Sometimes I'll occasionally get emails. Other folks will get emails. We have folks that we use as reviewers. And of course, not only do they provide a great video for you to watch later, but they also communicate with Athearn of any potential problems that they've seen. And this was the case. We wanted to get all those facts together, and that's where we did see a problem. And that's why we're going to fix it. Now, as far as other locomotives, like with anything that's mass manufactured, as hard as we try to make everything perfect for you, there's going to be one every once in a while for various reasons. Sometimes it's damaged in shipping. We ask you to contact the customer service rep, and it's a warranty situation. We can take care of you. If we do see a pattern, if we do see a trend, we will address it. We're committed to making good models for you folks. And again, we realize you guys spend your hard-earned money on these models, and we want to make sure it's right. So if we see a trend, we will definitely address it like we did with the SD60Ms. Let's see. Well, it looks like your questions are slowing down a little bit, so I think we're going to go ahead and get ready to pull the pin. So if you got any other questions, don't be afraid to put them up there. David, I see your question about the handrail part. That's under the parts. So again, like we were saying earlier, we're kind of going through that transition. So please be patient while we try to get the parts service up to 100% here in Champaign, Illinois. And then we can address your comments and questions regarding those parts. All right. So a couple of reminders, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave the train station here because we've only seen that one train. Couple of things. Don't forget this Friday, the 28th at 3:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time or Standard Time. We're going to have the new announcements, and there's going to be some great stuff that we're going to talk about. Everything that we've talked about so far this month, you have until Friday night or whenever your dealer closes to do your pre-orders. So don't forget that. Don't forget that Friday at 3:30, new announcements. And I know you guys always look forward to that. Eric, I see your question. I know you get tired of me saying it, but we are working on that, and I'm hoping to have that done soon. Now, we are slowly getting into the busy season of train shows, and looking forward to seeing a lot of you guys in July, whether it be at the RPM in St. Louis or the Spring Creek show in Nebraska. And of course, it looks like we're going to be at Train Fest. So that's a good thing to look forward to. Train Fest is always a great time. If you've never been there, check it out. Just do a quick search for Train Fest, and you will see one of the best shows in the country, one of the bigger shows in the country. And we're going to be there celebrating our 75th anniversary. So a few more comments, and then we're going to call it a day. Gary, more Rock Island. Okay. So, Gary, my next question is, what era Rock Island? We're talking maroon, maroon and yellow, red and yellow, blue and white. Let us know. Rock Island had a lot of different paint schemes, and sometimes those paint schemes were a combination of paint schemes, depending on what was going on. Look at that. I found a train for you guys. SB Scotty, I feel your pain. Of course, I'll be working during the new announcements. Don't worry. And this goes for every Train Tuesday that we have. If you do miss the live, we archive all that on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you know the phrase. Go over to our YouTube channel for Athearn Trains, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. That way you'll be notified of every time one of these videos goes up there. And if you're like me, a lot of the shows that and reviews that we have, it's kind of neat to have those playing in the background. It keeps you motivated to work on trains. So definitely. Back to the Rock Island guys, it looks like all three of those schemes that I talked about are popular. The bankruptcy blue. Gary's not so keen on the blue, but that red and yellow was really nice. That was a nice scheme. A couple of guys want maroon and yellow. Definitely. Yeah, I hear you, SB. Scotty says he likes to participate. It is kind of fun. This is our, for right now, this is our closest we get to a show where we get to interact. And it'll be a lot more fun when we get to go to shows. But and even after we go to shows, we'll still be doing Train Tuesdays. We'll still be doing the live announcements online. And the next coming weeks and months, we might even venture outside of the Athearn studio for some lives. So that could be fun. Look at this, guys. I'm just going to keep this up for you for a little bit because here comes another train. I think this train needs to stop, go to an Athearn dealer, and pick up some containers. He looks a little light. Shirts, yes. What kind of shirts are you looking for, Kevin? Are you looking for like t-shirts? Shirts like what I'm wearing now. It's kind of a golf tee. What kind of shirts are you looking for? Let us know. Rock Island GP18. Oh, okay. So Terry, Rock Island GP18, maroon and yellow, red and yellow. What are you thinking? What would really want you to pre-order? Kyle's all about t-shirts. Yeah, most of us are. Maybe a baseball t-shirt, with like yellow sleeves or something and an Athearn logo on it. That would get kind of cool. Make it look like a baseball shirt. 75 could be the number for our anniversary, that kind of thing. So Jesse says those are the new invisible containers. That is that must be a way for them to cut down on graffiti. Got to vote for polo shirts. Okay. Well, see, I'll remember these because we are working on something. If I can get caught up on my other tasks, we'll be talking about these sooner than later. Okay, Keenan, I have not seen that movie, and I didn't know I looked like that actor, but interesting. Interesting. I'll have to look at that up. All right. Okay, so we got a few trains in today. That's cool. We talked about containers. We talked about the chassis, and everything that we've talked about this whole month of May. You have until Friday. Friday until your hobby shop closes. You can pre-order all these things. Go to our website and see all the cool stuff that we're offering. And then again, be here Friday, 3:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We're going to have some great releases. I know you guys are going to be excited. Don't worry, we're going to keep you posted. The other day we posted a really cool CAD drawing of the steerable trucks for the AC 4400. So keep an eye on Facebook and Instagram and, of course, our videos, because we're going to be sprinkling you guys with all kinds of eye candy in the next coming months. And we're going to be doing that with a lot more than just the 3 items we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So keep your eyes open, and we'll call this show, we'll call this one done. There's no more trains. So I want to thank you guys for coming on board. It's been a great time as always. I will see you all Friday, 3:30 Central Daylight Time. That's what it is here in Illinois. And until I see you guys next time, I want you to be happy, be healthy, get out there, do some modeling, be kind to others, and above all, high greens, everybody.